What's going on, guys? PlayBox here, and we're back for another Dragon Ball Legends video. So in this one, we are going to be taking a look at the worst aging units in Dragon Ball Legends. So I did a video a couple days ago, or I think a week ago at this point, where I went over the best aging units in the game. And a lot of people wanted me to go over like the worst aging units, right? Since it's like pretty much the same, but the opposite of that video, right? So I decided, why not take a look at this? One thing, however, to note with this list is that I did not like do it similarly to that one, because in that one I took a look at all the best units from across like the game's entire history, but in this one specifically I took a look at like units from post second anniversary to now, because if you start going into the like pre-second anniversary units from like pre-first anniversary units, you get a lot of units that just drop and they're like dead on arrival. So there are a couple dead on arrival units in this list, but if you go back a bit further than that, you get a lot of units like that, so it would kind of mess up the list because they don't really age, because they never had a lifespan to begin with, if that makes sense. So we're going to be taking a look at units that have dropped post second anniversary to now, and I've come up with a list of 10 units. The 10th spot, actually, you'll see it was kind of hard for me to pick this 10th unit because post like second, like last year we got a lot of good units actually, so it was kind of hard to incorporate some units to make that list, but I tried my best to compile a list. So without further ado, let's hop in straight into the 10th spot, and it is going to be the Blue Android 18. So this unit dropped, I believe it was like a month or two before the 3rd anniversary. She dropped alongside the TOP 17, and although she was like a decent unit, I feel like she was almost never used on androids. Her main team would have probably been Universe Survival Saga. Let me just take a look at what the units were in that. Basil was, yeah. Oh, Topo. Oh, Topo was Universe. Yeah, Topo was Universe Survival Saga, right? But he didn't have the Z ability. So Universe Survival Saga wasn't that much of a team, because the only units you'd be using is these two and Ultra Instinct Goku, Bergamo, and Lavender, I guess. But EX Jiren wasn't there. Super Saiyan God Evolve wasn't there. God Topo wasn't there. So this team wasn't that great. And then if we take a look at androids, you would mostly run this 21 Zenkai instead of her. So this unit didn't really have a spot on the team, and she almost didn't see any playtime despite being somewhat decent, right? She was completely outshined by the 17, who was to this day still very, very good, especially now with the mono purple stuff. So this unit didn't really get a time to shine, and at this point she's not really used at all. That's why it was kind of hard to put her on the 10th slot, because I still believe she's like a decent unit, and I guess she didn't age as well, but like I wouldn't really compare her to like the other units, if that makes sense. But she's gonna be the number 10 spot, just simply because I couldn't find another unit. So let's move on to number 9, and it is going to be Super Saiyan Green Trunks from the 3rd anniversary part 2 banner. This Trunks actually is similar to 8. Well, actually she's much better than 18. He's actually a pretty good option. It's just that on movies you would actually opt to use the Zenkai Broly, I think. I feel like the Zenkai Broly just is much better option. Obviously now the green Broly from the Legends Festival is a much better option for movies. And then on hybrids, you could use them, but are you really gonna use this unit, a green unit, over the 3 core units, or 4 even? If you take a look here, are you gonna really use him over Sword of Trunks, Future Gohan, Revival Gohan, FSK, maybe? Like you wouldn't, even when he dropped, you almost wouldn't use him, and he was pretty much stuck on bench the majority of the time, and he did offer a pretty decent Z ability for bench. And then Vegeta clan, I don't even think he buffed the Vegeta clan team. Yeah, this team could have honestly used him a lot more than hybrids, because this team is lacking in a green unit. And their best green option, literally look at their best green option, is this God Vegeta and Trunks. Like, this team is really in need of a green unit. Obviously this core right here is very strong, so it's going to be hard to replace one of them, but they really needed a green option, and this guy just did not see any playtime almost. He saw a couple of honestly, even his damage wasn't that great. His kit was alright. Like, there's nothing really crazy about this guy when he drops, so he just aged very poorly in my opinion. And just after a month, you actually never saw him in the game, honest, in PvP. So that's gonna be our number 8 spot. So let's move on to I guess maybe controversial choicing. Let's see. Next one is going to be Ultra Instinct Goku. So Ultra Instinct Goku, honestly, I would still say he's like one of my favorite units because he's definitely fun to use, right? Like especially when he dropped, you know, the new mechanic of dodging and stuff. That was so cool. It was like a nice breath of fresh air into the game. He was definitely fun to use, but when he dropped, he had a very apparent flaw, and that was his defense. And that flaw just grew strong, like bigger and bigger, and to now he's just paper thin. Any modern unit is going to like decimate this guy in like 5 hits. Not even 5. One combo and this guy's dead. That's for sure. And then even his offenses like aren't that crazy either. He just comes into the battlefield with a measly 60% damage when units nowadays get a minimum of 80% to over to 100% damage like Gogeta, right? So not really much damage there. He does get some damage per timer count elapsed, but like, you know, you wanted to start off right away with some damage. Like I guess you can get this timer count because you're gonna be stalling with his unique gauge, but it's just not enough in my opinion, and the defense is really caught up to him. I would say from his initial drop, people are a bit hesitant on him because of his defense, and then over time just people started to agree that his defense was a very, very massive flaw with all these units that can literally destroy you in like a blue card, right? So that really pretty much caught up to him by the like 2nd anniversary, even a bit more. I would say like he was completely, I would say pretty much done. You could still run him on God Key. You could still find some usage out of him for sure, like on mono purple since he's getting so many Zenkai buffs, but it's quite unfortunate what's happened to him. I hope that he gets a plat soon. He can honestly even get a Zenkai soon, to be honest, because you can argue that this guy deserves a Zenkai before Vegito Blue, which is pretty insane, but we'll just have to wait and see first what his platinum, if they want to give him that, of course. But if they were to give him a platinum, what would you want it to be? Like, I can definitely see it tie in with his unique gauge, right? Like every time he evades something, you can give him some damage inflicted or some defenses or something like that. That would be pretty interesting. So we'll just have to wait and see what they do with him, similar to Vegito Blue, who of course needs a platinum equip as well. So let's move on to number 6. I think it's number 6. We did 3, so number 6 we have, actually no, it's number 7, right? I don't know, whatever. The next one is going to be the Super Saiyan Broly. So this Broly actually dropped with so he dropped with DKP, the purple transforming Demon King Piccolo, and he was supposed to be the main unit on that banner, funnily enough, because when they revealed his gameplay, they didn't reveal Demon King Piccolo, they just revealed this guy. And then when he dropped, he was pretty damn underwhelming, you know, for our first version of Broly that wasn't like the legendary Super Saiyan version of him, so just a regular Super Saiyan Broly. They kind of dropped the ball with him. Doesn't do any damage really. His only good thing that he has was the ultimate that actually hits pretty hard, right? And it does AoE damage, which is very, very good. But like other than that, like nothing really crazy. Damage was very lackluster. 60% damage, 30% Sun Family, which is pretty decent, I guess. But now he's pretty much just a bench unit for powerful opponent because he has the health buff for powerful opponent, right? So he's gonna be ran on powerful. He's gonna be ran on his teams forever, right? But just not gonna be really seen in PvP, which sucks because I really like this Broly. I actually want to see one of the units I actually want to see the most is the Super Saiyan controlled version of this Broly. So the one with when he has blue hair, that's like a unit I really want to see. Maybe even transforms into legendary Super Saiyan, who knows. That honestly could be an ultra unit because Broly is such a popular character, so that's a unit I really want to see come into the game sooner or later. So yeah, this Broly is pretty mid right now. Just have to wait for a Zenkai, I guess. So let's move on to the 5th spot. I think this is 6th. Super Saiyan 2 Kefla and Kale assist unit. So this is actually the first assist unit that like in the strike art animation you actually see both of them pop in, which is pretty cool. I like that they did that. And other than like the tag Goku and Vegeta, this is like the assist unit that has like the most animation with both of them in the animation, so they're pretty much there for they're both of them together for all the moves. The strike card, not the blast card, but the blue card, the ultimate, the green card. So that's pretty cool, I guess, right? But yeah, other than that, like, just like a lot of these units, her damage was just not it, right? I think does she draw a card every time she uses? I feel like she has some sort of mechanic like that. I could be wrong, but yeah, she has this nose switching. This nose switching effect could be useful, but I just feel like it's kind of It's like a downgraded version of units that can lock in when they come into the battlefield, right? This is the same snow switching that the Bardock has right now. So like once you're in a combo and the combo ends, they're locked in, right? So you can kind of play around that, play with that, like go for a tap attack and then go for a blast attack into the key cancel rush because they're locked, right? So you can kind of play with that, but it is kind of technical in that sense. But she didn't age very well at all because what she buffs, does she buff Rival Universe? She buffs Rival Universe and girls. Saiyans, she had no place whatsoever. Angel Vegeta was going to be the main Saiyan team, same unit. Girls, I think you'd still want to run Android 18 on that. I mean, this team is pretty much dead right now. Rival Universe, I guess Rival Universe, she's their best option. Or you can even go into Champa because when she dropped, Champa was still decent. He does pretty solid blast attack, right? But this team is just not good. This team, Universe Survival Saga, these teams, they really need the buff right now. I honestly thought they were gonna get buffed for Legends Festival because I thought UI Goku was gonna drop, but they didn't. So I'm pretty confident to say that UI Goku and Full Power Junior are gonna be dropping for the anniversary, but they really need a buff, like at least 1 or 2 units before then, because this team is just struggling out here. Their best unit is God Destruction Topo and EX Jiren. Like, Purple Hit is still decent, but like other than that, they really have nothing. They could use a couple Zenkais too, but it's just not ideal right now for those that team and Universe Survival Saga, of course. So it is what it is. So let's move on to the next one, and it is going to be Great Saiyaman 1 and 2 assist. There's a pretty apparent trend with these assist units being very bad. We have Broly and Chilai that dropped and were pretty garbage. They had to literally put in a transforming Super Vegeta on the banner for people to summon on that. And then Super Vegeta ended up being a Z tier, and then Broly and Chilai was just garbage. And then after that, who was it? I think these were the second assist units, actually. And they continued the trend of mid assist units. Because when they dropped, they were nowhere to be found. They dropped alongside transforming Goku Black. Goku Black was a Z tier unit. Obviously, he wasn't put into Z tier, but I honestly feel like he was a Z tier unit. And these guys were put into the bottom of tier 7 with like all the other assist units, and they just didn't do anything. Like, they are labeled as support units, so right off the bat, they didn't do that much damage. But the supporting, what was a support anyway? Applies the following stuff to ally when switch to standby. Restores health up to 3 times. I mean, it's decent. Vados does that infinitely. Restores ki by 30 is good. Damage is good, right? But it's just what was the team you'd be running this person on? Because I can tell you right now, okay, Sagas from the movie, Hybrid Saiyans, yeah, right, you're gonna run this guy on Hybrid Saiyans. So movies, who was it? Oh yeah, actually movies pre Legends Fest, like during that time, movies wasn't even a good team. You didn't have any of the staple units. The best team on movies was probably still this Broly and Full Power, this Gohan. They didn't have any units. They got this unit and then this unit, Metal Cooler. Yeah, that team was just awful. So that didn't help his cause at all. Hybrids, literally this guy dropped for hybrids, and FSK was still the best unit in the game at that time. No way he was gonna replace him. And then that's it. Like, yeah, this guy just duo unit just didn't do anything. And who was the next duo unit after his? Trunks and Mai. Trunks and Mai, at least they were somewhat decent. If you get them at higher start, they were pretty good. They did some solid damage. And then after that was kind of Leafless. So yeah, a lot of assist units were not good. And then of course we finally got a good assist unit in the form of Goku Black and Zamasu, who are freaking, they're something. They're a good unit, let me tell you. So let's close this tab, and yeah, they have to, I mean, I guess they have, I guess they know how to make a good unit. Honestly, 2022 when you compare it to 2021 in terms of unit quality, like the Sparkings that have dropped in this 2022 are far superior in terms of usability and aging compared to 2021. It is actually, they've really stepped up their game, and I'm pretty sure I've said this on multiple occasions where post third anniversary, the Sparkings have been very, very good. There have just been a couple exceptions, which I've already named, and one that's coming up soon. But overall, they've done a pretty good job with Sparking units, which is a pretty good thing to see. And I hope they continue this trend moving forward, because no one wants to summon on a banner where the units are just mid, right? So hope they continue with that trend of having good quality Sparking units. So let's move on. Going into the 4th spot, we have Super Saiyan 2 Kefla. So she's at the 4th spot. I believe this is where she belongs. Honestly, Kefla, I'm thinking of doing a video on her soon to revisit her, because honestly, when she dropped, I thought she was actually pretty solid. She did some, in my opinion, she did some pretty solid damage, and I really liked her little mechanic here where if you force the enemy to vanish, I think it's here, if you force them to vanish, you get restored, you get some ki, you get some damage, and you get 60% your vanish restoration back. So you can like kind of vanish, wait a bit, and then force your opponent to vanish, and then you can vanish right away, which is it's a bit technical, but you can definitely make it work. And she has like cover knowledge, she had some good stuff, right? It's just that I guess people didn't see the value in her because I guess she wasn't doing a lot of damage. In my eyes, I thought she did a lot of damage, but as time went on, she was not doing any damage. I had her pretty high stars. It's so weird because the same problem happened with Vegito Blue, the purple one, where when they dropped, they were like pretty solid. They were like pretty good units. Vegito Blue was being praised as the best 1% Sparking, the best non-Zenkai unit, and then literally like 1 month later, they're just completely dead. Everyone was like, what the hell are these units? Like, throw them in the garbage or something. Like, it's pretty, I don't know why it's like that. Why it was like that. It might be the Revival Gohan effect, but yeah, this unit is no different. She didn't have any teams whatsoever. Fusion Warriors. She was a Fusion Warrior. Yeah, did you know what other red Fusion Warrior was present during her release? Yeah, Zenkai Gogeta, who was a Z tier unit when she dropped. So there was literally no way she was gonna replace her. Girls, there's no point even bringing girls in. They're a dead tag forever. And then Rival Universe, similarly, they didn't have any of the top units that we have right now, like EX and God Topo. So that was never a good team. Her teams were just completely out of the meta, and the one team that was somewhat in the meta, Fusions, she was nowhere to be found on that team. So it's unfortunate, but she didn't age at all. She didn't age well at all, and honestly, you can argue that she would probably be the worst 2021 Sparking. But I think there is one unit that deserves that title, and it is going to be the next one here, and it is Revival Green Gohan. So this unit, oh my god. So this unit dropped in a time period where hybrids, of course, were the best team in the game. They had the 3 core units, Future Gohan, Revival Gohan, Zenkai Gohan. And so keep in mind that prior to his release, a lot of people were tired of hybrids because they kept getting buffed and buffed and buffed, right? Which is pretty funny because the second people were complaining about that, they dropped another Revival unit for the hybrids team. And it's really bad. It was a really bad decision, mainly because, not because he's like a bad unit or anything, which unfortunately he was a bad unit too. Maybe not unfortunately, but he was a bad unit. But the main reason why this was a bad idea is because when you're going into PvP, you're not going to be bringing that Green Gohan ever. Because think about it. To bring that Green Gohan, you need to sacrifice either this guy, or this guy, right? You're not going to be sacrificing these 3 units over that Green Gohan. So instantly, the second he dropped, he was going to see no playtime whatsoever. And then on regen, right? Because he actually does buff regen. Saiyan Saga, don't even bring that up. Regen. On regen, he had to compete with this Fat Boo. Fat Boo is like the staple regen unit, so you're not going to be bringing him either. So if you exclude 2 of his main teams, right, what do you have left? You have a unit that cannot be brought into PvP whatsoever. And that was a big problem because they kept buffing these teams that didn't need help. And other teams that are suffering a lot, like LOE, Rival Universe, Universe Survival Saga, these type of teams, right? Or girls, you know, they could have easily benefited from a Revival unit. But they decided to make him a hybrid, and basically, decided to not let anyone play this unit because no one would want to bring him into battle. So this is the unit that I believe had the least amount of impact on the meta ever, right? Maybe not ever, because there are a couple of units coming up here, but in 2021 I truly believe that this guy was the worst sparking unit to ever drop. And yes, I know a lot of people consider her the worst sparking, even though she was an anniversary unit. I think this Gohan takes the cake as being the worst sparking of 2021. So let's move on to the next one, and it is going to be the GOAT, Pycon. So Red Pycon, right? This unit is pretty interesting because he's actually very good, right? No, I'm kidding. He's not that great, obviously. He's a transforming unit, so let's see his stats actually as a transforming unit. 281 blast attacks, that's pretty good. 246 strike attack, post transformation is not that great. Defense or whatever. But yeah, this guy, the biggest problem with this guy was, first of all, let's take a look at his team, right? Red was his first Z ability. Green was his second Z ability, and I think he buffs... Okay, no, he doesn't even buff Otherworld Warrior because, I mean, there's no point in buffing that. So, right off the bat, this guy does not have a team. So, if you don't have a team, you're not going to be used in PvP. So, luckily for him, there is the leader slot now, so you can put him on a team, right? Does he have a powerful opponent? He actually does have the powerful opponent tag. You could have easily gave him the powerful opponent Z ability, but this was when they first introduced the powerful opponent Z ability, right? That's when they introduced this, they were giving units a sub Z ability, like Zamasu, Green Goku, Black, Red Cell. They had their main Z ability, and then they had a little extra, like, you know, plus 15% to a certain stat to powerful opponents, right? So it wasn't really a fully fleshed out team like it is now. So they wouldn't probably give this guy the powerful opponent tag. So when he dropped, right, no teams, no playtime in PvP, instantly dead on arrival. But the biggest problem was he dropped during the Vegito Blue meta. And for those of you who didn't know what color Vegito Blue was, well, guess what? He was a blue unit, and he was the best unit in the game by a 50-mile stretch. So this guy, the second he was brought into battle, mind you, when you go into PvP, you're going to be queued up against the Vegito Blue 9 times out of 10. So when you're going to PvP and you bring this guy, you're instantly at a disadvantage, because once Vegito Blue gets you in a combo, he's going to throw a blue card at you, lock you in, and one-shot you into oblivion. So there was literally nothing you can do with this guy. So he was instantly dead on arrival, and even to this day, he's not going to be used. But he at least has a decent Z ability, right? For people that want to run a color, a monocolor, not a monocolor, but a color counter team, right? So I guess he has that. So let's move on to the last spot, and I think this is honestly probably the worst sparking to ever drop in the game. I think so. So let's move. I'm pretty sure you guys can guess who it is, but it is going to be Gotenks Absorb Boo Super, or simply known as Boo Tanks. This guy was one of the biggest disappointments in the game, and it's crazy because this form actually is pretty cool. I was actually very hyped for when this guy was was revealed. I think it was through V-Jump, if I'm not mistaken. So he dropped alongside the Ultimate Gohan, Transforming Ultimate Gohan, right? And so yeah, Boo Tanks. This was our first Boo Tanks in the game, so it was pretty hype, right? Like any form of Boo, you can argue that as a pretty hype, I guess, right? So I was interested. I did a couple summons, didn't pull them, of course, but I kind of regret summoning because this dude didn't do anything. He didn't. What team was he on? Did he buff blue? Okay, he buffed regen. He buffed powerful. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. He had a sub tag to powerful opponent, which is 26%. I guess as Zenkai 7, it's not a sub tag, but he buffed powerful opponent blast defense, right? So his main team was powerful opponent. The regen team before his release was Android 21. Was it Android 21 Zenkai? No, I don't think she was Zenkai. Yeah, she's Zenkai later on in the year. I think it was still Super Baby 2 and the MajinBlue combo, right, where you're pretty much gonna be invincible the whole time. I think that combo was still pretty like solid there. So you would actually never run this Boo Tanks. So right off the bat, he had no team there. And then powerful opponent wasn't really a team, so you couldn't really do anything. So that's 2 of his teams down, right? So right off the bat, he doesn't have any playtime. But other than that, he doesn't. Look at his stats. What are these stats? They're laughable. This guy was literally paper thin. Doesn't do any damage. Would literally get decimated like by one card. The biggest joke within his combo, within his kit, was this one right here. Hurry and drain your tears so we can fight. My favorite message in PvP, by the way. 40% damage to 40% to damage inflicted when this character enters the battlefield. You know, when you look at it, it's like, okay, not bad. But read the next line. The effect is cancelled when an enemy lands an attack. Why would they even do this? So this means that you enter the battlefield, you know, 50% and 40%, 90%, you know, that's decent for units back then, right? So when you enter the battlefield, you get that. If they tap attack you, if they tap blast you, if you're in the mid, if you're getting comboed and they stop, you're instantly losing that 40%. Why would they do that? It literally makes no sense whatsoever. It doesn't even, like, a lot of the time, like sometimes when a unit is trashed, like it could be because the developers are trying to make them anime accurate. That's why, like, Bardock, you know, this LF Bardock we just got has like this restrictions on his passives. The Majin Vegeta has some freaking debuffs you apply to your allies. The Super Saiyan 3 Red Goku has some debuffs because, you know, Goku couldn't sustain his form for long enough. So when you add these restrictions, it's kind of bad, right? But I don't know why they even added this restriction, because it just literally makes no sense to me. Like, even with the 50 and 40, he wasn't even doing that much damage. It was pretty solid, but it wasn't anything crazy. But you're just gonna remove that effect just because he got tap blasted, and then he goes back to doing like trash damage. Like, makes no sense whatsoever. So he's going to top our list as the worst aging Sparking. Honestly, in my opinion, the worst Sparking to ever dropped in the game. But luckily for him, he's actually very good in Tournament of Power. He's actually one of the best units to use in Tournament of Power. So at least he's got that, unlike someone who is useless everywhere in the whole game. So in that aspect, at least Gotenks is, Bootanks is somewhat solid, right? But as in terms of PvP viability, easily one of the worst, if not the worst Sparking to ever drop in the game. So that's gonna be my list of the worst aging LFs. Mind you, this is post 2nd anniversary to now, so there are some units that I didn't include because simply they're just too old to even consider. So let me know in the comments if you guys disagree or agree, or just drop a comment letting me know your thoughts on the list. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe, because that shit is so important, so don't forget. Other than that, have a great day. See ya.